Huh. Quiet.
Howdy, ma'am. Allow me to extend the warmest of welcomes on behalf of the town of Rosewater and its inhabitants. Folks call me Jem. And who do I have the honor of greeting?
Harley Leger.
Delighted to make your acquaintance. Might I assist you with your luggage? That is, if you've got any.
I don't.
Ah, right. Well, what brings you to our fair town, Mrs. Leger?
Miss, and I'm here about a job.
Planning on sticking around, huh? Say, what line of work are you in?
If you must know, I write. There's an opening at the Rosewater Post.
Well, best of luck with that. The editor at that place ain't somebody you want to cross.
Then we ought to get along fine.
I'm sure you will. But as official town greeter, allow me to offer a small caution. Rosewater ain't always such a sleepy little town.
Hey!
Say, I've just remembered another engagement.
This how you welcome new arrivals? I have a mind to give you a thrashing. All right, enough of that. Look, I was no choir girl. But I had the good sense not to get caught. Word of advice, kid, don't pick your mark in broad daylight, especially not at a lawman's doorstep. Go on, beat it, or I really will give you something to cry about. Now, where in the ether is that damn publisher's office? So they do have the law here, in theory at least. So they do. October 25th, 1850. Dear Miss Leger, thank you for submitting your sample. Your writing shows real potential. I'd like to extend an invitation to meet with me at the offices of the Rosewater Post and discuss the possibility of an extended commission. How soon can you arrive in town? I await your reply and look forward to making your acquaintance. Yours, Joan Gallagher. So they do have the law.
Howdy, stranger. Fresh off the train?
Yes, sir.
Come on in then. Let's have a chat. I'm Sheriff Gamble.
Harley Leger.
Pleasure. Just passing through, or?
I'm here about a job.
Well now, that's refreshing. Few come to Rosewater these days with the intent of staying long. How are you finding our town?
I can't say much for the welcoming committee.
Beg pardon?
I wasn't in your town but 2 minutes when I was accosted by a pair of gutter snipes. They should thank their lucky stars I was in a good mood.
Dang it. I keep telling Jim to stop with that town greeter malarkey, but that boy's got a head harder than granite. I've been too soft. I ought to throw him in lockup until he gets his head on straight.
Trust me, that'll only make things worse. Besides, I don't think they've yet written a statute outlawing vexatiousness.
You've a forgiving nature, Miss Leger. Anyhow, welcome to Rosewater. If you run into any more trouble, come and see me.
Looks like a pretty rough sort. This fellow still at large?
Yep, but I reckon he's left the province.
A lawman with a license? Guess Rosewater isn't so uncivilized after all. Reminder, confiscated items to be placed in the box below. Reminder, Does this license mean you went to sheriff's school?
No, it means I was officially elected to the position by the people of this town. The paper is really just a formality.
I wouldn't have figured the sheriff for a naturalist. Fancy yourself a lepidopterist?
Ha! Hardly. Picked that display up from a passing rag and bone man. But I like when the sun shines on their wings just so. Real thing of beauty.
A plain leather bag. Wonder what's inside. What's in the bag?
Oh, that's a set of lockpicks I confiscated from a would-be burglar.
I can't just swipe these from right under his nose. Doesn't look too comfy, but I guess that's the point. Those are some stern-looking ladies. Hey, Sheriff?
What's on your mind?
Who are the people in this photo?
Those are my sisters, Lord bless them. Reba married an oil man. I think they're living in some big mansion on the coast somewhere. Sadie died a few months after this picture was taken. I'm grateful to have this to remind me of her smile. Beulah's a real firebrand. She'd smack you across the face soon as look at you. She did to me plenty.
Not a bad view. Hey, Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am?
What's this photo of?
That's a view of Colchester, where I grew up. The winters were so cold, people's sentences would hang in the air for days. My folks still have a ranch there. Been meaning to pay 'em a visit. It ain't exactly a metropolis, but it's got character.
What a peculiar decoration. Hey, Sheriff?
What's on?
Why have you got a horseshoe hanging above the door?
Glad you asked. My grandpappy told me a story about a blacksmith who was visited by the devil. The devil asked the smith to make him a horseshoe for his own hoofed feet, you see. So the blacksmith took a red-hot horseshoe and nailed it straight onto one of his hooves. The devil howled out in pain. He begged the blacksmith to take it off again. The smith agreed, but on one condition. The devil must always respect the horseshoe and never enter any place where one is hung above the door. Hell of a story, wouldn't you say?
Impressive collection. Hey, Sheriff?
Ma'am?
What's the story with these guns?
Now these are standard issue repeaters, pretty powerful rifles. Thankfully, I've yet to use one in the line of duty. Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of these.
Hey, Sheriff?
What can I do you for?
Just how long have you been the sheriff here anyway?
Oh, couple years now. Like most everyone else, I came to Rosewater in '48, when we thought the hills were full of Orem. Except I stayed when it turned out they weren't.
You were a prospector?
Yep, but it turns out lawman was a more stable career.
A man in your position must have plenty to say about the town he serves.
Suppose that's true, but a stroll down Main will tell you most everything you need to know.
Anything of interest in the surrounding area?
Not really. The San Bernardo Valley don't offer much in the way of sightseeing. There's an army fort, Fort Beaumont, and an abandoned relic that used to be a laboratory. There's also an Indian village on the other side of the valley, but you'll want to steer clear. I've heard tell they can be real territorial, but all that's outside my jurisdiction. When you leave my town, you're taking your chances out there.
Thanks for the chat, Sheriff.
Come back anytime.
Hey, Sheriff.
What can I...
Just a long...
Oh, couple years. Like most everyone else, I came to Rosewater, except I stayed when...
You were a
Yep, but it turns out lawman was a more...
A man in your position must have plenty...
Suppose that's true, but a stroll down Main will...
Anything of it?
Not really. There's an army fort, Fort Beaumont. There's also an Indian village on the other side of the valley, but you'll want to steer clear. I've heard tell they can be real, but all that's outside my jurisdiction.
Thanks for the...
Come back.
I hope that isn't the town water supply. Looks sturdy, but there's some rot creeping around the handles. Can't be a good sign when even the blacksmith goes out of business. No shoes for you, horsies. This padlock's not going anywhere. Not without encouragement. Soft drink crates. A sugary, fizzy way to beat the heat. Nothing inside but a colony of ants. Shame. I could go for a sarsaparilla. The local sawbones. This is where all the sharp knives and strong drugs will be kept.
Oh, hello there. Don't think I've seen you around before.
Just arrived in town. Name's Harley Leger. And you're Dr. Sedgwick?
At your service. Welcome to Rosewater and to my clinic. Anything in particular ailing you today?
Now that you mention it, I've got this blister on my right foot that's got me in a huff.
I can take care of that for you. Step over to the chair and I'll cut it off in a jiff. They do tend to be gushers, though, so it might be a while before you're up and about again.
On second thought, I'll just deal with it.
Oh, the frontier life has its fair share of discomforts, to be sure. They do say that suffering is good for the soul.
For the soul? Is that a pun, Doctor?
Huh? Oh, I see. For the soul. Ha ha ha. Most humorous.
That's impressively clean.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say, and good health starts with good hygiene.
That's...
Cleanly and...
Have you actually read all these books, Doc?
I have. They also serve for reference. Learning is a lifelong endeavor.
Quite a variety of potions and tonics you've got here, Doc.
It's only a small part of the bounteous pharmacopoeia that nature might make available to us, if only we knew her secrets. There is so much to be discovered.
Medical College of Wicks? Never heard of it.
It's in central Rotterdam. Not quite the University of New Britannia, but then what is?
I imagine you get your hands pretty dirty in this line of work?
It's for cleansing before, not after. I am a follower of the modern European theories, positing that disease follows from the propagation of tiny animalcules living on the surface of the skin. Thorough washing with soap and water is said to eradicate them.
Drown the little bastards, huh?
Something like that.
Well, that's just disgusting.
Not disgusting, it's fascinating, awe-inspiring.
To each his own. What's in the pouch?
Oh, just some supplies for house calls and emergencies. Please, don't touch that, Miss Leger.
Hey, Doc, is that mess of noodles really what our insides look like?
Indeed, Miss Leger. The human body truly is a marvel.
I suppose that's one word for it. Hey, Doc.
Miss Leger.
So, how's the medicine business?
What a question. I'm a physician, Miss Leger, not some two-bit snake oil salesman.
Didn't mean to imply you were.
I'm sure. At any rate, I've not had many patients of late. But that is the physician's dilemma, is it not? We are taught that idleness is a sin. But better that I am idle and the townsfolk healthy than my surgery be full of the ill and infirm.
Got any knowledge to impart about Rosewater?
Oh, well, it's a fine town.
You don't sound too enthused.
I'm sure you'll find plenty to see and do here.
Give it to me straight, Doc. I want to know your thoughts on this place. Warts and all.
Were Rosewater one of my patients, I would say the prognosis is not good. Not since all the Aurum claims dried up and the airship routes opened, leapfrogging over our rail line. The hangers-on keep this place gasping for breath, but I fear they only prolong the inevitable. I hope I haven't discouraged you, but you did ask my opinion.
If things are so bad, why not pick up and move elsewhere?
I swore an oath to do no harm, Miss Leger. As the town's only physician, leaving would mean abandoning my patients. There may not be many left to call on my services, but when they do, I am the only barrier standing between them and the grave.
Isn't that a bit dramatic, Doc?
Say what you will. I know where I stand on the matter.
Why not train some...
I did have an apprentice not long ago, my ward, Nadine.
What happened to her?
Oh, this is no kind of life for a restless young person. I encouraged her to put her talents to use elsewhere. She's ministering to the local native tribe now.
Who is this tribe?
I'm afraid I don't know much about them, just that they have a small village somewhere in the valley. I believe they call themselves the Audam? Autumn? I'm not certain of the pronunciation. At any rate, they don't come to the town, and I imagine the townsfolk mostly let them be as well.
You must know all about the townsfolk.
I am well acquainted with all their ailments, proclivities, and vices. But if you're just seeking gossip, you'll have to find it elsewhere.
I'll see you later, Doc.
Do take care of yourself.
This is the place. Hey, what gives? 2 feet over and I'd be flatter than piss on a plate. Okay, easy there. I'm going to fetch the sheriff. Hey, Sheriff Gamble.
Hello again, Miss Leger. Everything all right?
No, it is not. There's a man who needs help outside the Rosewater post.
Lead on, then.
Here he is, poor bastard.
I'll be needing to have some words with Joni. We need the doc. You wait here.
Oh, dear. Hello? Can you hear me? I'm Dr. Sedgwick. I'm here to help you. Can you move your legs? Spine seems intact, no obvious fractures of the arms or legs. That, I would say, is nothing short of a miracle. Right. He's in a bad way, but he'll live. I'll get him back to my clinic and patch him up.
You know, the more I look at him, the more he strikes me as familiar. Isn't this the feller been stirring up troubles at the fort?
I couldn't say. I haven't seen him around before.
Tell you what, send him my way when you're done with him. We got this under control, Miss Leger. You can go about your business.
Glad to hear. Gentlemen.
Hello, can I help you with something?
I'm here about the writing commission.
Ah, yes, you must be Miss Leger. I believe you and Joni exchanged some correspondence on the matter already, yes?
Yep, got the letter right here.
May I see it, please?
I've got that letter here somewhere.
Take your time. Just let me see it when you found it. Very good. Oh, one more thing. Joni's not one for formalities. First names will do.
Noted.
Go up those stairs and knock.
Thanks. What's your name?
Henry Dixon, ma'am. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Likewise. Cozy.
Miss Leger,
Mr. Dixon.
I thought you intended to see Joan.
I do, but I just remembered something else of import.
All right, but fair warning, Joni isn't the type to wait around forever.
Hello again.
Hey, Doc.
I'm afraid I haven't the time for idle chit-chat, Miss Leger.
Oh, all right. Pretty common-looking leather pouch. The stuff inside isn't of much use to me.
Welcome.
So, things always this thrilling around here?
I think you just caught us on an exciting day.
Well, lucky me. I can't swap the bags with the sheriff sitting right there. Hey, Sheriff.
What's on?
Who are the people?
Those are my sisters, Lord. Irma's a real sweetheart. Don't think I ever met a kinder soul. I hope she's doing well.
Got him. Not the best quality lockpicks, but they'll do in a pinch. I can pick this type of lock in my sleep, but why would I want to snoop around an abandoned blacksmith shop? I can pick, but why?
Good to see.
That cabinet's better organized than I'll ever be. They seem to be pretty active around here. I hope that means steady work. Impressive piece of machinery. Excuse me?
How can I be of assistance?
What's to know about this town?
You picked a fine time to arrive, Miss Leger.
Why is that?
A few years back, you could hardly drive a wagon through the street. It was so full of folk coming and going. I'm sure you've noticed that's no longer the case.
So where did everyone go?
Wherever the Orem actually is would be my guess. There's still some prospectors hanging on, convinced they'll find something everyone else missed. I'm sure they'll all come to their senses eventually.
If they all go, where will that leave you?
Why, getting by, I imagine. Peaceful, quiet life. The railroad still brings some traffic. Folks on their way further west or shipping goods back east. Although not as many as before the transcontinental airship line opened up. Easier to sail clear over the country than ride the rails halfway. Suits me fine, though.
Been working here long, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, about 5 years. I was the first one Joni hired on shortly after launching the paper. Was a farmhand before that. Keeping books is much nicer than tending cow pens, let me tell you.
Anything I should know about the townsfolk?
Can't really help you there. I'm just a simple family man, and we keep to ourselves.
Exactly who was that gentleman just took a tumble out your second-story window?
I haven't a clue. Devil of a fella. Just busted in here and went straight for Joni's office. He wouldn't be put off, but insisted on speaking with the editor immediately. Said he intended to lodge a complaint. Suppose Joni didn't take too kindly to his manner of lodging.
Those are some mighty fine whiskers you've got.
Oh, why, thank you, Miss Leger. The missus tells me I ought to shave, but I'm fond of the look.
As you should be. I'll leave you to your work.
Appreciate it, ma'am.
Come in. Hello, Joan. I'm Harley Leger. Ah, yes. Nice to finally put a face to the name. Please, take a load off. Whiskey? Bit early for me, but thanks all the same. Sensible. I like that. I, however, have had a morning, so if you don't mind. Say, have we met before? Something about you seems familiar. I don't believe so, no. Well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, shall we? If you're gonna join our little family here, I'd like to know more about you. Me? Well, I was born and raised in New Britannia, got out, made my way west, and started writing. I saw your ad while I was up in Pierre. Thought a change of scenery would do me good. Well, admittedly, Rosewater isn't as cosmopolitan as it used to be. But maybe you'll find it to your liking. There hasn't been a dull moment since I stepped off the train. Speaking of, your writing sample had me in stitches. I haven't spent much time in Lamplight City myself, but your descriptions of the toffs in Leon, hilarious. That piece was inspired by my last visit a few years ago, actually. Oh? What brought that about? I had to go back and settle my late brother's affairs. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't in connection with that awful business at the Lamplight City Expo. Oh, no, it was before that. The Expo disaster was a national tragedy, of course. But, you know, I can't help remembering it as the week our paper sold more copies than it has before or since. Isn't that terrible? But enough about that. Let's get back to why we're here. I loved your sample. And I like you as well, Harley. So I'm going to go ahead and offer you a commission. I'll pay you 45 crowns for it. After that, we can talk about more regular opportunities. Hot damn! So, what's my assignment? A scathing commentary on Rosewater's decline? Or maybe a hard-hitting expose on the plight of the marginalized criminal youth? Oh, no, nothing like that. I want you to interview Gentleman Jake Ackerman. Who? Pull the other one. Have you been living under a rock? He's a true Western legend, the Achilles of our times. We've got a real opportunity here. A star like that landing in our little town. I'd like something in the vein of your sample. Acerbic and mordant, but maybe not quite so acerbic. So, a puff piece. Good. You're paying attention. I want you to make Rosewater look good too. Show me a real frontier hero in a real frontier town. Where can I find this Jake fellow? He's taken rooms at the Jack of Diamonds just down the road, and his show is opening today at the Opera House, so he should be around for an interview. I don't know how you're situated here, but you're welcome to use the typewriter in the office. I only write longhand, but I'd certainly be grateful for a quiet place to work. Longhand! How charming. Now, if you have any questions before you go, by all means, ask. So, who is the man that went out your window? Not another writer, I hope. Ha! Oh God, no. You're the only applicant we've had. Don't worry about him. Just a rabble-rouser with an axe to grind. Thought he could burst in here railing about my journalistic integrity. Most folks stick to writing letters to the editor. I tried to calm him down, but, well, it didn't go that way. I see. The Rosewater Post reported on the Lamplight City Expo? It was only the biggest story that year. I've still got copies of the article saved. Here, read it for yourself. Can I keep this? Frame it if you like. Any insight you can give me about the town? It's a far cry from what it used to be. In a way, it's nice not having to hear the noise from the saloon at all hours, but, oh, I don't know. The folk who moved on took some of the charm with them. What about him? I was hoping for more details. As far as you're concerned, the only person in Rosewater worth knowing right now is Jake Ackerman. If you're so keen to get to know about the rest, go meet him for yourself. I don't want to seem ungrateful, but couldn't I write about something else? My style's more observational than, talking to people. I don't know that that's really my strong suit. We're talking, aren't we? If you want to write for this paper, you're simply going to have to stretch yourself beyond what you might be accustomed to. Besides, it's not as if you have to say anything particularly brilliant. Just get your subject talking and take notes. Finish this assignment, and maybe the next one will be more to your liking. I'd best be on my way. Right you are. Wait a minute. What? It's just come to me. I know why you look familiar. You're Spitfire Harley. Goodness. It's been a long time since anyone called me that. I saw you fighting back in 26 at Wellesley Hall in the Chum. You took out a brute twice your size with a right hook. Pow! It was like watching David bring down Goliath. I appreciate the kind words, but that was another life. Maybe so, but for a 14-year-old kid fresh off the boat, it was pretty damn inspirational. Thanks, Joan. Appreciate it. Of course. And please, call me Joni. No time to waste gabbing, Lejeune. That's quite a stick. A memento from me grandfather back in County Donegal. Comes in handy now and again. A memento from me grandfather comes in handy. I hope fixing that window won't be too expensive. I may just leave it for a while. I'm enjoying the breeze. Is this the first edition of the Rosewater Post? Yup, March 30th, 1845. One of the best days of my life. You support Leroy? I'm a proud Labourite, sure, though I'll admit he hasn't been my favorite PM. But the way things were going with Atwood and the Tradists, this place would have been swallowed up by an automated newspaper conglomerate. Labour Party gets me vote any day of the week. Fair enough. The New Britannia Gazette, keeping tabs on the competition? Hardly. I kept that issue because they mentioned my paper. I'm a proud, but the way things were going with Atwood and Labour, fair enough. But the way Labour Party gets me vote any day of the week. Fair enough. Hey, that's Devil's Tooth. I passed it on the train right here. Quite a sight, isn't it? Nice typewriter. My first. Good old Sheldon Model 4. Fascinating device. Isn't it just? To think I can send messages from here to Bright Bay with the press of a lever. What will they think of next? See you later, Joni. Take care of yourself out there. Spitfire Harley writing for my paper. Now don't that just beat all? Excuse me?
I'd love to chat, Miss Leger, but I'm a bit occupied at the moment.
Don't let me distract you then. Cozy. Unless I want to write a piece of pure fiction, I should probably collect some material first.
Was your meeting satisfactory, ma'am?
Quite so. Did you find any of those butterscotch sweets I asked for?
Afraid not. Only taffy and some peppermints.
Pity. This place seems to lack even the smallest of pleasures. Shall we?
For 20 coppers, it had better be one hell of a show. Dr. Bennett Clark, Master of Ethericity. All right, the Ethericity fellow. I didn't know he was working out here. This place is falling apart, but these stone tiles were nice. Once. Betrayal, murder, revenge. Classic stuff. Never works out that way in real life. Never heard of this one. Lock. This thing's heavier than it looks. Bet I could do some real damage with it. Shabby, but I've been to worse. Looks like it's been up for ages. I wonder if they ever caught the guy. Or maybe he retired from crime. Or died of old age. Horse pills? Is that pills for horses or pills made from horses? Or both? Wonder if the whiskey here is any better than the rot gut back in Pierre. These seem to be for decoration more than anything else. These seem to be food delivery for the lazy. Warning, watch the dang door. Signed, management. Now that is mighty tempting. I bet that piano hasn't been tuned since the De Leon administration. She's making the best of it, though. The local populace getting sloshed. The local populace. I bet that. Excuse me, kid. I need to get upstairs.
I'm really sorry, miss, but Mr. Ackerman's not taking any more meetings right now.
It's important I speak with Gentleman Jake.
I'm sure. Of course, he always strives to make time for his admirers. Mr. Ackerman's upstairs getting ready for his show. It starts in less than an hour. Why don't you come by and watch? You can come meet him afterwards.
I just need to interview him for a newspaper article.
Well, now, that's perfect. If you're going to write about him, you should definitely see the show. Trust me, it's a real dazzler.
Suppose it beats waiting around here.
Gentleman Jake's show will be starting at the theater soon. You won't want to miss a second of it. Gentleman Jake's show will be starting at the theater soon. You won't want to miss a second of it.
You again?
Oh, hey, Harmony, was it?
Harley. What in the ether are you doing here?
Oh, you're not still sore about earlier.
Nah, but your little friend might think twice about hoodwinking strangers again.
Look, nothing personal. My brother and me are just doing our best to get by.
Your brother? And you just strolled away? I ought to knock you into a cocked hat.
Hey, you gotta look out for number one.
You picked the wrong mark, but I can let that go. Hell, with a little effort, you two could be halfway decent crifters. But if there's one thing turns my stomach, it's disloyalty. That's your flesh and blood. If you don't have your own brothers back, who else on this wretched earth is going to give a flip if you're alive or dead?
You made your point. Now can we drop it already? I'm trying to do an actual legitimate job here.
Legitimate job? So you're not selling snake oil or stock tips or fire insurance?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm selling tickets to Gentleman Jake's legendary Wild West show. Only 20 coppers.
I'll take one of those tickets.
Swell! And when would you like to come see the show?
Whenever it starts?
Oh, you mean today? Oh, well, I'm afraid I gotta disappoint you there. Sold the last of today's tickets not 10 minutes before you walked up.
Seriously?
Seriously, this ain't exactly the Coliseum. It only fits so many, and folks around here are real excited to see Gentleman Jake in person.
All right, look. I don't need to see some yahoo firing off his pea shooter. I just want to talk to this Jake fellow.
And I'm sure Gentleman Jake would be happy to meet you if you had a ticket to get in. Course, I might be able to sneak you in quiet-like, but I'd be putting my job on the line, and I can't afford to lose it now. After all, I have my little brother to look after.
Just tell me what you want.
Only a small favor.
Spit it out.
Just help me retrieve something. A small item of great personal value. It's only my pa's pocket watch. Family heirloom, you see.
What happened to it?
It was stolen is what? By that one-eyed scalawag Lola Johnson. Probably stashed it away in the old smithy. She's been squatting in there for weeks now.
Where'd your brother get to? Keeping out of trouble?
Matter of fact, he's trying to make good after that screw-up earlier. Decided he's gonna try and get Pa's watch back all by himself. He's real tore up over losing it.
That fumbler, sneaking and lifting valuables? He'll be collared in no time. Like as not, you'll never see him again. And good riddance.
Hey now! I know he's a scaredy bungler who don't know his right hand from his left foot. That's the problem. I tried talking sense into him, but he's dead set on it. Wants to prove himself. But he'll be in real hot water if he gets caught, which he probably will. That's why I'm asking you to do it before he goes and does something stupid. I can tell you could pull it off. No problem.
The blacksmith's got a giant padlock on the door.
So?
So I'm not breaking into private property?
I told you the place is abandoned. Lola's squatting in there. Besides, it's not really breaking in if you're retrieving something stolen. Sheriff Gamble won't trouble himself over it, trust me. And if you run into Lola, I'm sure someone like you can handle her.
If this Lola stole from you, why not report it to the sheriff?
Oh, come on. I thought you was sharp. That lazy tyrant would cuff my brother and me soon as look at us. It's just the two of us. Me and him against the world. We got no one else to turn to. So, will you help us out?
Let me in, or you're going to be sorry.
Oh, come on. It's really not a big deal. It'll take you 2 seconds.
You and your brother can go hang for all I care. But I want in this theater, so I'll do it.
Swell. You know where to find me. Wait a minute. You can't just go in there without a ticket.
Wait here. I'll be back.
I look forward to it.
Welcome back.
Hey, Sheriff.
What can I do you for?
Is Doc Sedgwick on the up and up, or is he one of those frontier quacks?
Oh no, Doc Sedgwick's tried and true. Why, he saved the town from a yellow fever epidemic just last year. The doc's pretty much the glue holding this town together. Leastways, that's what he's fond of telling everybody.
What's the story with Gentleman Jake?
Which one? If even half of 'em are true, he's a lion among men, a real Western hero. But you can catch his show while he's in town and hear it straight from the source.
Are you acquainted with Lola Johnson?
Not really. She mostly keeps to herself. As long as she don't cause trouble, I'm willing to overlook the squatting.
I saw a lady coming out of the saloon earlier. She was older, fancy looking, sounded old country. Any idea who that is?
Can't say it rings any bells. Wonder what someone like that'd be doing in Rosewater.
Thanks for the chat, Sheriff.
Come back anytime.
I can pick this type of lock in my This should be easy to pick. Just have to remember that rhyme I taught Bill. Good thing I wrote it down in my journal. The tension key. Don't pick locks without it. A hook pick. Good for locks with smaller pins. I should have this open in no time. It's just like the rhyme. Learned it by heart as a tyke and scribbled it down for posterity. A diamond pick. This one's good for simple door locks. A snake pick. Best type for getting the job done quickly. I should have this open and learned it by heart as a tyke and scribbled it down for posterity. Hellfire, am I losing my touch? Good thing I wrote down the rhyme in my journal before I lost all my wits. I should have this open and learned it by heart as a... What am I doing wrong here? That damn rhyme. Long, long run is the part I'd better not forget. A hook pick, good for locks with smaller pins. I should have this open and learned it by heart. The tension key. Don't pick locks without it. I should have this open. Learned it by heart as a Tyken. I should have this learned. Hot damn! That could be a good spot to stash something. Emptier than that fool Jem's head. Are these lucky horseshoes? If so, they didn't work. Are these lucky? Maybe the kid's watch is in there. Absolutely nothing. The Smithy's cold furnace. No watch, just old ash. Did the blacksmith dabble as a Wainwright? Doesn't look too comfortable. Nothing here. The mirror's broken. Wonder who caught the bad luck. Scrap metal. Must not be valuable or it'd be salvaged by now. Scrap. Decorative or a functional hiding place? Well now, what have we here? Got what I came for. Best not to stick around. I'm not really in the mood to tempt fate. Fancy. Too bad there doesn't seem to be a pawn shop in town. What happens if I put these things together?
Welcome back. Nice watch. I'd be wary of flashing it around, though. Nice.
Hey, kid.
Yeah?
Wait here. I'll be back.
I look forward to it.
Hey, kid.
Yeah?
You said you and your brother needed money. How about 2 crowns?
Well now, that's mighty kind of you. But this don't change the deal.
Why, you little bastard.
You want in, you gotta do me that favor.
Wait here. I'll be back.
I look forward to it. Are you trying to take a piece of the theater home with you? That's kind of weird. Are you trying that?
Here's your watch back.
No fooling. You actually got it?
They didn't used to call me Housebreaker Harley for nothing.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Anyways, that's my part of the bargain held up. You gonna let me in now?
Sure, go on. Oh, and thanks. I know we've had our tiffs, but I really do appreciate you getting this for me. My dear departed pa can rest easy again knowing his watch is back where it belongs.
That's not your watch at all, is it?
Well, it is now.
Kid, if I were you, I'd make myself scarce. Otherwise, the only way you'll be able to tell the time on that thing is by squatting over a mirror. You get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, are you ready for some thrills? Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some fun? Then without further ado, may I present the star of our show, the last man standing at the Bleachbone Gulch Showdown, the only man to defeat bastard Billy Boakes in a duel, the man who discovered a gentleman, then gifted it to an orphanage, Gentleman Jake Ackerman! Yahoo!
Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman Jake's Wild West. We got a heck of a performance for you today, but first, allow me to introduce my brave and loyal assistant, Danny Luo. Now let's get this show on the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you rope a steer. Keep it going, Danny. Maybe you'll lasso yourself one someday.
The sun beat down upon them as the duelists stood and stared. But Billy Boakes had never fought somebody so prepared. Jake drew his gun, and bang! The bastard crashed down with a thud. The legendary foe lay dead, defeated, in the mud.
You sure you didn't just bore him to death?
And now for a most challenging proposition, perhaps the greatest feat of marksmanship to which a man can set his sights. You see those 5 juggling balls that Charlie keeps whirling aloft in such a dizzying display? Ladies and gentlemen, affix your eyes on that green ball in particular, and do not dare blink. For with but a single bullet, I will pluck it from the very air.
Big deal. You were practically next to him.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Thank y'all so much. You've been a truly magnanimous, magnificent, and majestic audience.
And you can take home a piece of the legend. Come on down to the Jack of Diamonds to get an autograph or a souvenir ferrotype. We'll be there until last call. Stop by and shake hands with Gentleman Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Locked.
I'm telling you, Jake, I need that money tonight.
You knew the deal going in, Charlie. There's nothing I can do about it.
We'll see about that.
Hope I'm not interrupting, gentlemen.
My friend here was just saying his farewells. Weren't you, Charlie? Please do pardon that unpleasant display. What can I do for you, my dear?
Name's Harley Leger. I'd like to interview you for the Rosewater Post.
Well, shucks, it would be my pleasure, Miss Leger. Shall we go upstairs to my room? Beats standing out here in the dust.
Lead on.
Miss Leger, permit me to introduce my associate, Danny Luo.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance, Miss Leger.
Likewise, Mr. Luo.
Please, you can call me Danny. Everybody does.
So what did you think of the show? Pretty spectacular, huh?
Yes, that's definitely the word for it.
I'm glad you think so. Wait a minute. The heckler. Was that you?
Yeah, so what? I like keeping performers on their toes. That way their heads don't swell up.
What a refreshing perspective, Miss Leger. I appreciate your candor. Shall we proceed with the interview?
Right. Danny, you're Gentleman Jake's closest associate. I'd like to hear your perspective.
Me? But I thought this interview was with Mr. Ackerman.
Oh, go on, Danny boy. Tell the lady what you think of old Jake.
Well, Mr. Ackerman's been very kind to take me under his wing. He's taught me loads about showmanship and being brave. Really, I couldn't ask for a better mentor.
Aw, hell. You're gonna make me blush.
How did you come to pick Rosewater as your latest venue?
Simple. Plenty of folk in this town are looking for a good show. I ain't so hoity-toity as to think El Presidio or Los Virgenes are the only places worth visiting. After spending all day bent double over a pan in a creek or working his keister off down in a mine, a man is entitled to some amusement, wouldn't you say?
So who is the real Gentleman Jake?
Mercy me. That's a hell of a question. Now, I ain't much for philosophizing, Miss Leger, so I'll just say this. In my case, what you see is what you get.
I see. Well, okay then. You're clearly a man of great deeds. Which would you say has been your greatest?
I value all my accomplishments equally, Miss Leger. To single any one out would diminish the others. I couldn't bring myself to do that.
What a noble sentiment.
I like to think so.
Hey, Jake, don't you have an appointment with Miss Sally this evening?
Damn, you're right. Sorry to cut things short, Miss Leger. I've got another engagement I need to prepare for.
I should have plenty for my article. I appreciate your time.
Well, I look forward to reading your story in the next edition. Danny, see the lady out, would you?
Good meeting you, Danny. Guess I'll see you around. Not to worry, gents. Jake's all yours. Hey, you were in the show. Nice juggling.
Thank you, ma'am. Jake, get your ass out here right now, you four-flusher.
Now, what's all the ruckus?
Don't play the fool with me, Ackerman. You know damn well why I'm here. You might think you can give me the runaround, but I wonder if my friends here won't convince you to pay up.
Charlie. Didn't anybody ever tell you only cowards get others to solve their problems for 'em?
You slum-guzzling bastard. I'm gonna fix that wobbling jaw of yours.
Come on up here, then.
You sure you won't reconsider, Charlie?
Shut the hell up and get out of my way. McGuire, take care of the kid. Let's dance, cowboy.
I suggest you clear out while you can, little lady. This could get ugly.
From where I'm standing, it's pretty damn ugly already. Hey!
So that's how you want it, huh? Fine. I'll let the boss deal with you when he's done. Oh, no. You're not getting away that easy.
You're in my way, you lummox.
And that's where I'm staying. We can do this all day. Hey, don't start any trouble, lady.
Huh, Bollingworth Ale. Didn't know they got that out here.
Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady. Hey! Don't start.
Whoopsie daisy. Sleep tight, chump. Nothing on him but the stench. I'm not walking away from a fight. Not the most honorable way of winning a fight, but these boys were hardly playing fair.
Whoo-wee! That got the old blood pumping.
You've got some interesting associates, Mr. Ackerman. If you'll excuse me, I have an article to write.
Hang on just a minute. I'd be a fool to just let you walk away after that performance. Come on back up here. I've got a business proposition that may interest you.
What about Miss Sally?
Oh, she can wait. All right, Miss Leger, I won't beat around the bush. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job, and I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr. Bennett Clark?
No, I don't think I have.
He was the lead scientist researching that ethericity stuff. Before the ban, that is. Dr. Clark moved out here not long after the big disaster back in Lamplight City. He kept up his research, even did some demonstrations at the Opera House. Till one day, he just up and vanished. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of him in nearly a year.
So is he dead or what?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. But the real question is what he left behind. We're going in search of Dr. Clark's fortune.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east into financing his research. All those gizmos and doodads don't come cheap, you know? We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to come.
Stash? What stash? Surely it's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere.
Nope, I'm telling you, he kept his assets in cold, hard cash.
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because nobody knows where he is?
Now, nothing so uncouth as that. Picture this, a swashbuckling pirate captain, his vessel freighted with treasure. The vast fleets of law and order circling him, closing in. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to conceal his ill-gotten loot and makes himself scarce. Circumstance conspires to deprive him of the opportunity to return. Now, is the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of robbery? Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's personal wealth. The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric research. Since that's been outlawed, he can't touch it. And it's a drop in the ocean for the investors. They'll never miss it.
How many folks are you planning on bringing into this?
That depends on what we find. But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split. Enough to make it all worthwhile.
What's your plan?
Clark had a lab nearby, a couple miles outside of town. Last place anybody saw him. We poke around there, retrace his steps, and it should lead us straight to the loot.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not entirely convinced.
Why on earth would you think that? A couple of folks I don't know from Adam asked me to help them hunt for some money that probably doesn't even exist. How could I not be convinced?
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous were I in your position.
Mr. Ackerman's a good man, Miss Leger. He's never led me astray in all the time I've known him.
I appreciate it, Danny, but I think Miss Leger's gonna need a little more than just your word. Look, I've known quite a few moneyed folk in my time. They all got one thing in common. You know what that is?
They couldn't give a rat's ass about folks like you and me.
I admit I cannot emphatically contradict you there, but not what I meant.
So what do they have in common?
They're good at keeping their money safe. Clark's cash is out there. I just know it. As far as your safety, you just took out a couple of brutes twice our size. It's plain to see you can take care of yourself.
I'm pretty good with my pistols, and Mr. Ackerman can talk his way out of anything, but we could use somebody who's good in a fight.
Besides, stick around old Jake long enough and you'll have enough material to write a whole book. Forget a measly little write-up in the local rag. I'm offering you a front row seat to a much better show. So, what do you say?
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in. At the very least, this venture should make for an interesting tale.
I'm pleased to hear you say that.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call me Jake.
You again?
Oh, hey!
Harley. What in the ether are you?
Oh, you're...
Nah.
Look, nothing personal.
Your brother, huh? And you just threw him to the dogs to save your own skin. You're clearly the brains of the operation.
Hey, thanks.
But let me pose you a question. If you don't have your own brothers back, who else?
You made your point. Now, can we drop...
Legit. So you're not...
Nah, no, I'm only...
I'll take one.
Swell! And when...
Whenever it starts?
Oh, you... sold the... Seriously. This ain't exactly the Coliseum, and folks around here...
Alright, I don't need to...
And I'm sure if you... Of course, I might be able to sneak you in quiet, but I'd be putting my... And I can't afford to lose it now, after all.
Just tell me what...
Only a small...
Spit it out.
Just... It's only my pa's pocket.
What?
It would probably...
Where'd your bro...
Matter of fact, he's trying to make good. He's...
If he's doing...
Why, it's clear he ain't cut out for the job. I tried talking sense into him, but he'll be in real... That's why I'm asking you. I can tell you could pull it off.
Let me in, or you're going to be sorry.
Oh, come on. It's real. It'll take you 2...
Not interested.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Are you ready for some thrills? Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some fun?
Woohoo! Yeah!
Then without further ado, may I present the star of our show, the last man standing at the Bleachbone Gulch Showdown, the only man to defeat bastard Billy Boakes in a duel, the man who discovered a gentleman, then gifted it to an orphanage, Gentleman Jake Ackerman!
Yahoo! Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman Jake's Wild West. We got a heck of a performance for you today, but first, allow me to introduce my brave and loyal assistant, Danny Luo. Now let's get this show on the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you rope a steer. Keep it going, Danny. Maybe you'll lasso yourself one someday.
Woo-wee!
The sun beat down upon them as the duelists stood and stared. But Billy Boakes had never fought somebody so prepared. Jake drew his gun. And bang! The bastard crashed down with a thud. The legendary foe lay dead, defeated, in the mud.
Yahoo! Get him!
And now for a most challenging proposition, perhaps the greatest feat of marksmanship to which a man can set his sights. You see those 5 juggling balls that Charlie keeps whirling aloft in such a dizzying display? Ladies and gentlemen, affix your eyes on that green ball in particular, and do not dare blink. For with but a single bullet, I will pluck it from the very air.
Yeah! Amazing!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Thank you all so much. You've been a truly magnanimous, magnificent, and majestic audience.
And you can take home a piece of the legend. Come on down to the Jack of Diamonds to get an autograph or a souvenir ferrotype. We'll be there until last call. Stop by and shake hands with Gentleman Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Miss Legere, we meet again.
What's the problem?
Well, this young man tells me you're responsible for the condition of his brother over there. Now, I know this ain't your first run-in with the boy, but I can't stand by while folks take the law into their own fists, as it were.
Does this mean I'm under arrest?
Afraid so. Come with me to the station, if you wouldn't mind. 2 assaults in one day. Is it a full moon or something?
As if you wouldn't have done the same in my shoes.
Jim can be a handful. Frankly, it's about time someone put him in his place. But that's all I'll say on the matter. Do keep your hands to yourselves in there, ladies.
Roughed up Jim, did you?
I did. Who'd you rough up?
Some little punk I caught trying to break into my place.
Let me guess. Scrawny runt? Face like a leaky pump handle?
If your well water runs red sometimes.
My warning clearly didn't do a lick of good. Maybe you managed to teach him something.
Oh, I barely touched the boy. Pity the sheriff here didn't see it that way.
Seems that between the two of us, we've taken down the whole local ragamuffin syndicate. I'm Harley Legere.
Lola Johnson.
Well, how serendipitous. Jem wanted me to get his pocket watch back from you.
His watch, huh?
Yeah, I had a feeling he was trying to pull something.
Seems like everybody in this damn town is. I'm making tracks soon as they let me out of here.
Afternoon, Sheriff Gamble.
Mr. Ackerman, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I heard you got the lady who was raising Cain at my show.
That's right. In the cell there. The one with both her eyes.
Might I have a word with the prisoner?
Go on, then.
Miss Legere, I presume?
Uh-huh.
Way that kid told it, I was expecting you to be at least a foot taller. Ah, the strong, silent type. I can respect that. I was merely hoping you'd indulge my curiosity. In all the time I've been performing, I never seen somebody so hell-bent on a seat they knocked out the ticket taker. So, what compelled you to do it?
That little twerp's been a thorn in my side since the moment I set foot in town. I'd had it up to here with his antics, so I let him have it.
I see. Not one to suffer fools, are you?
Not if I can help it.
An admirable quality.
Now that I've answered your question, would you answer a few of mine?
Ah, right. Danny mentioned you'd been asking after me at the saloon. You a reporter for the local paper?
Provisionally. I've been assigned to interview you.
Well, this is hardly the place for it.
Afraid I haven't got much choice about the venue.
Let's fix that, shall we? Gamble, how much for this fine lady's bail?
Oh, let's say, 10 crowns?
Danny, pay the man.
Here you are, sir.
Appreciate it, son.
Now then, won't you join me in my room at the Jack of Diamonds? I got a business proposition. Now that we're nice and settled, permit me to introduce my son.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance.
Likewise, Miss.
Please, you can call.
So.
All in due time, Miss Legere. But I ask you to. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job. And I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr.
Of course. What about him?
Dr. Clark moved out here he kept up his research. Even did some till one day, nobody's seen hide nor...
Okay, so get to the point already.
We're going in search of Dr. Clark.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east. All those gizmos and doodah. We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to...
Stat? Surely it's all just numbers on a...
Nope. I'm telling you, he kept...
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because...
Now, nothing so... Picture this. A swashbuck, the vast fleets of law and order. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to circumstance conspires to deprive. Now, he's the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of... Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's... The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric... Since that's been outlawed, and it's a drop in the ocean for the...
How many folks are you planning on?
That depends on what we... But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split. Enough to make it...
What's your...
Clark had a lab nearby. We poke around there.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not in...
Truth be told, I'm not. How can you be sure Clark isn't just holed up in some cave with his cash? Or that someone didn't off him so they could claim it for themselves? We follow Clark, and whatever vanished him could end up vanishing us, too.
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous.
Mr. Ackerman's a good. He's never let.
I appreciate it, Dan. Look, I've known quite a few. They all.
I don't.
They're good at keeping their. Clark's cash is out as far. It's plain to see you can.
I'm pretty good with my pistol, but we could.
Besides, stick around, old. Forget a measly little write-up in the local. I'm offering you a front row seat to a month. So?
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in. I can appreciate a good story, but I love a good payday even more.
Now that's the kind of talk I like to hear.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call me Jake.